You know, when I was thinking about that, when I was running this morning, I was thinking about the welterweights and like, when is the there is so little activity amongst the top welterweights. They're not even fighting stay busy fights. It's just, it drives me crazy because
you're never
going to
get Spencer Crawford. You're never going to get the fights you want, Spencer Crawford, whatever. You're never going to get, you're right. Because
I just don't know why. Well, like Marvin
the
Hagler,
greedy promoters, that's why. Because the greedy promoters, they want to have options. They want to control their guy. They don't want to take a chance they're going to lose their guy. And they want to keep their deal with the network. And part of their deal with the network is that they got this guy. And they don't want to lose that guy because they want to keep getting paid by the network. They don't give a frick about the fans. They don't care about you. They don't care about what you think. They could give two craps about that. They'll put a good fight on when it comes down to Pike. But going out there and saying, let's put the best fights on in a consistent way that's going to make the sport better and healthier, and that's going to be the way the UFC is. No. The UFC can do it because they got one guy running it, and he does care about the health of the sport because it's to his benefit. It is. It's to his business benefit that he cares about the health of the sport. But these promoters, there's 4 or 5 power brokers in boxing. Those guys with their deals with them, maybe less, but those guys with their deals with the network, they only care about their little piece of turf. That's all they care about. They could give 2 craps about the rest of the property out there that belongs to boxing. They could give 2 dams about that. They only care about their property. What their and keeping that healthy. And I'll tell you what, some of these stupid executives at the networks, they don't even know they've been turned into farm clubs. Yeah, farm clubs, growing fields, so that the promoter can grow their guys, farm their guys, and then be able to continue to have a cottage industry out there where they can continue making money and every once in a while pop one of their undefeated fighters in a fight with the less risk possible, unless it's a mega fight, unless it's a Mayweather and Pacquiao that comes around, once in a lifetime. Unless it's that, then both got to get together. We got to do it because we can't leave that money on the table. But other than that, they just use it as a farm system just to build up their guys and put them in with subpar fights on the network that the fans have to suffer through in order to get those undefeated records. And the networks just, they sit back like not even aware. I guarantee you they're not aware because they're looking at other things. They're looking at other, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, other things. And they're not really looking at this. It's programming that suits their purpose. It gets a certain audience in there. So they go along. They don't even look. They only look when it gets really bad. When it gets dire. When they'll start to lose money. But a lot of these cable networks, like HBO for years, they overpaid. There were idiots running it. We're great. We're geniuses. No, they weren't geniuses. They were morons. But they were. Some of them were egotistical, arrogant, freaking morons. But they could throw $5 million to these overpaid heavyweights, and they could put them on, and just pay them whatever, just pay them anything, just write a blank check. And there was never any accountability for these networks, for these executives. You know why? Because it was subscription based. So the subscribers were there still for the movies, for boxing, so the subscription base, they never really took a look at, the boxing, we're overpaying. And we're not really getting back the bang for our dollar because the overall subscribers were still healthy. And as long as that was still healthy, well, then there was no light really shined on their department, on their part of how they were running the boxing, how they were overpaying, how they weren't always. And then later on, as Ross Greenberg went down the road, the fights got worse and worse and worse. And finally it disappeared. They give you all the reasons, whatever, but it finally disappeared. You don't have to, again, you don't have to really be a scientist to figure out why it disappeared. It didn't make the sense anymore. But that was coming for years. It didn't just suddenly happen. It just caught up to them. So when it catches up to whether it's the zone, whether that they run out of money and the subscriber base doesn't get high enough and the numbers don't come there for the fights, then something eventually happens. But it's usually a long haul. It's usually a long haul where, again, there'll be a certain market. There'll be a certain amount of people that'll be watching the fights because they love boxing. They want to see it. They'll tolerate some of the crappy fights, hoping to get to the good ones. But then if it stays that way with A's against B's, as we've been seeing in boxing more and more, well, then you're going to get the audience is going to drop off. And then finally, maybe one of these numb executives will get poked by somebody. Hey, buddy, yo, ho, are you looking at these numbers here? And then maybe. But again, that takes time. And that's the difference. And I'm sure I made a lot of friends in that last 20 minutes, out there. Feel free to send me an offer for a job. Call my agent. Call my agent, okay? And no problem, okay? I'll consider it.